Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular City Commission meeting for this, the 10th day of February 2025 at 6 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Gollison?
Here.
Commissioner Mercer?
Here.
Commissioner Dantzler?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Yates?
Here.
And Mayor Birdsong.
Here. We will have our invocation by Pastor Spivey from the People's Church and the Pledge of Allegiance by Vanessa Castillo. Would you stand if able, please?
Let's bow. Our Father, we pause this evening and we thank you for a city who still invokes your presence and your input here. And so we pray this evening, oh God, that your presence would be here among your people. We pray that you would speak to and through our commissioners. Help them to make wise and prudent decisions on behalf of our citizens. Lord, we pray for every department head in our city and each worker in those departments, that your divine protection and blessing would be over them. And we pray, oh God, that you would shower our city with your grace. For it's in the name of Christ we pray all this. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioners, would you join me?
Just trying to figure out the tie that Mayor Pro Tem has on this evening. Okay. On a more positive note, we have two proclamations this evening. So we are going to start with our first proclamation, which is for Dr. Jesse Owens. Dr. Owens, if you'd like to come to the podium, and I'll read our proclamation, which reads, whereas the City of Winter Haven recognizes how diversity and inclusion are woven into the fabric of American life and solidify the foundation of strong communities. And whereas in 2021, the City of Winter Haven began celebrating Black History Month by recognizing local heroes who have made a significant impact on the community. And whereas a group of community leaders came together and identified local heroes who blazed new trails while demonstrating passion, dedication, and compassion for the community. And whereas one hero will be recognized each week of Black History Month 2025. And whereas Dr. Jesse Owens is recognized as one of these heroes. And whereas Dr. Jesse Owens is a native of Winter Haven, a distinguished music educator, and so much more to so many people, she continues to inspire the next generation of artists and musicians. And whereas Dr. Owens' motto is transforming lives through the arts, and these are words that can guide us all. Now, therefore, Nathaniel J. Birdsong, Jr., Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby recognize the week of February 17th, 2025, as Dr. Jesse Owens Week in the City of Winter Haven, in recognition of her extraordinary achievements, leadership, and dedication to advancing music education and cultural arts in our community. In witness whereof, he is hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, to be affixed this 10th day of February 2025. Signed, Nathaniel J. Birdsong, Jr., Mayor. Attest, Vanessa Castillo, City Clerk.
Couldn't believe it the first time, and the second time is really, really sweet too. But I want to thank everybody for the confidence and my passion, my dream that has become a reality for this community. And I will continue to do it as long as God gives me the health and strength. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Thank you. As Dr. Owens makes her way to the dais for her photo, share again with the public that during the week of February 17th, there will be a series of informational posts that we do recognizing her, and her banner is being displayed here along with the banners of our other 4 local heroes will be displayed along the light poles that surround Central Park in the heart of downtown. Thank you, Dr. Owens. Our second proclamation this evening is in recognition of Patricia Salary. So, Ms. Salary, if you'd come to the podium, please. Proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the city of Winter Haven recognizes how diversity and inclusion are woven into the fabric of American life and do solidify the foundation of strong communities. And whereas a group of community leaders came together and identified local heroes who blazed new trails while demonstrating passion, dedication, and compassion for the community. And whereas one hero will be recognized for each week of Black History Month 2025. And whereas Patricia Salary is recognized as one of these heroes. And whereas Patricia Salary, a native of Winter Haven's Florence Villa community, a woman of faith, and a devoted educator, has impacted many throughout the community. And whereas Mrs. Salary would say, if I can help somebody, then my living will not be in vain. And these are words that can guide us all. Now, therefore, Nathaniel J. Birdsong Jr., Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby recognize the week of February 24th, 2025 as Patricia Salary Week in the City of Winter Haven in recognition of her lifelong dedication to service and the betterment of the community. In witness whereof, he is hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida to be affixed this 10th day of February 2025. Signed, Nathaniel J. Birdsong Jr., Mayor. Attest, Vanessa Castillo, City Clerk.
Good evening, Mayor Nathaniel Birdsong, City Commissioners, City Manager, other city officials, and MLK Committee. I would like to thank Mrs. Patricia Smith Fields for the nomination and the MLK Committee for selecting me as one of the local Black heroes. Thanks for affording me the opportunity to receive such an award as this. I am grateful and truly honored to receive recognition of this magnitude. You have touched my heart immensely. It is with great joy that I accept this award and honor, not for me, but for my family, you as role models and leaders in the Winter Haven community. I have and will continue to lead by example to encourage, inspire, and motivate future leaders. We all must be a living example of what leaders are and do. This award epitomizes me and the life I have lived. I was raised in a single-parent Christian home with my mother and brother, Dr. James Ammons Jr. My mother, the late Mrs. Agnes Ammons, gave us a great foundation for us to build upon. She knew our journey would be difficult and challenging at best. So she worked diligently to instill moral values in us at an early age. She taught us that we could be or do anything we wanted to in life if we reverenced God, worked hard, received a good education, love ourselves and family, respect ourselves and our elders, treat people the way we want it to be treated, to love life and to give it to the fullest. These things and many more helped shape my character and made me the person that I am today. As I received this proclamation, for which I am truly grateful, I must say that today is really not about me or my life's journey, but rather about each of you, our leaders and future leaders. I humbly accept this award. Thanks so very much for this recognition. I am honored and truly blessed by God. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
And if Mrs. Salary's family wants to join her for the photo, certainly you're more than welcome to.
City Manager,
Sir.
can I say something about both of these two ladies really quick while they're taking the photo?
Here.
Ms. Owens, Dr. Owens, was my course teacher at Denison. I think that was about 96, 97. And Ms. Salary was my guidance counselor at Lake Region High School from 01 to 04. So the Local Heroes celebration is definitely a testament to how these local heroes have impacted this local community. Even me, as I approach age 40, that kind of shows that, hey, these people are pioneers of our community and have been doing this great work for a very, very long time. So please continue to support the local heroes in our MLK celebration. And thank you all, city commissioners, for all you do in supporting that. And we hope that you continue to support us at the committee. Because these two ladies has definitely impacted my life very singularly, and they've impacted hundreds of other lives throughout this community. So thank you both.
You guys look right here for me. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Gonna do one more. Perfect. Thank you.
We have no developments of note. Commissioners, you have the January the 22nd and the January 27th minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
motion to approve the minutes from January 22nd City Commission Agenda Review and January 27th Regular City Commission Meeting Minutes.
thank you. I will close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to any of these minutes may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, the minutes are adopted. We have no comments from the audience. So we have second reading 02503, which read by title only, city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-03, an ordinance amending ordinance 23-24, the 2035 Winter Haven Comprehensive Plan by amending the scheduled capital improvements portion of the capital improvements element of the City of Winter Haven Comprehensive Plan, revising capital improvements element policies 1.1.7 and 1.1.8, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, this item pertains to the adoption of our 5-year schedule of capital improvements into the comprehensive plan. It includes fiscal years 24-25 through 28-29 and is derived from the city's 2024-2025 operating budget. Only those projects with a minimum cost of $25,000 or greater and a minimum service life of 5 years are included. Total capital spending for the proposed 5-year schedule is approximately $482 million. The policies 1.1.7 and 1.1.8 formally adopt by reference as well the current FDOT 5-year work program, the Polk County 5-year transportation work program, and the 5-year work program adopted by the Polk County School Board. This was heard by the Planning Commission January 7th of this year, and they unanimously voted to recommend approval. Staff recommends the City Commission approve ordinance O-2503 on second and final reading. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion to approve ordinance O-2503 on second reading and public hearing.
Thank you. I will close the commission meeting and open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to O-2503 may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. 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 Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none. O-2303 O2503 is adopted. O2506, which read by title only, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-06, an ordinance amending various provisions of Article Roman numeral 3, Chapter 19, Sections 19-68 through 19-81 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida regarding the city's wastewater system, specifically the Industrial Pretreatment Program, also referred to as the Industrial Pretreatment Ordinance, by incorporating changes mandated by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and/or the Environmental Protection Agency through revision of the city's wastewater industrial pretreatment regulations, providing for codification, the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, severability, and a repeal of conflicting ordinances and resolutions, and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, the city is proposing revisions to its wastewater industrial pretreatment ordinance in Chapter 19 of the city's code. These revisions stem from DEP's March 27th, 2024 audit of the pretreatment fat, oil, and grease, or FOG division. The proposed ordinance addresses DEP's recommendations for regulatory compliance, clarifies language, and corrects minor typographical errors. We did receive DEP's preliminary approval of this ordinance on January 3rd, 2025. Staff recommends the City Commission approve ordinance number O2506 on second and final reading and authorize city manager and/or designee to take all further necessary actions related thereto. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve ordinance O2506 on second reading and public hearing.
Thank you. I will close the commission meeting and open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to O2506 can do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, this by the same sign. Hearing none, O2506 is adopted. O2507 would read by title only, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-07, an ordinance amending ordinance number O-23-54, appropriation of funds for defraying the expenses of the municipal government of the city of Winter Haven for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2023, providing for severability and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, per Florida statutes 166.241, the commission may amend its budget by ordinance to appropriate and expend funds that were not anticipated in the approved budget. In July of fiscal year 2023, the city implemented encumbrance of purchase orders. Due to encumbrance roll forwards from the previous fiscal year, being 2023, adjustments to fiscal year 2024 budget are required. The general fund and the airport fund reflect a budget increase of $250,482 and $238,440 respectively. These are offset by encumbrances in the same amount for the respective funds. Staff recommends the City Commission approve ordinance O2507 on second and final approval, approving a budget amendment for the encumbered purchase order roll forwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve ordinance O2507 on second reading and public hearing.
Thank you. I will now close the commission meeting and open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to ordinance O2507 may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, this by the same sign. Ordinance O2507 is adopted. Commissioners, you have the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety as presented.
Thank you. I will close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to any item on the consent agenda may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, this by the same sign. Hearing none. The consent agenda is adopted in its entirety. All right, we have no resolutions. We have a couple of first readings. The second reading will be on February 24th. We will not be voting on these ordinances tonight. Ordinance first reading, O2501, which read by title only, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-01, an ordinance amending ordinance 23-25, the 2035 Winter Haven Comprehensive Plan, 2035 Future Land Use Map Series by revising the future land use map series by assigning neighborhood support future land use to one annexed parcel, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. A general location is a parcel generally located south of Dundee Road, approximately 1,748 feet east of Overlook Drive Southeast, and approximately 108 feet north of Highway 550. The area covered by this request is 0.11 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, Regional Real Estate Management LLC requests the city assign neighborhood support future land use and commercial highway C3 zoning district to an annexed parcel. The parcel was annexed into the city May 22nd, 2023. The petitioner intends to develop this property with a small business office for his lawn care business. Property is located along the Dundee Road mixed-use corridor, which consists of a mixture of industrial, commercial, and residential. The property is surrounded by a vacant property zone C3 to the west across an unimproved right-of-way, a vacant parcel owned by Polk County to the north across another unimproved right-of-way, and one single-family home located to the east and south. Supporting water, sewer, and transportation infrastructure contains sufficient capacity to support the request. However, final concurrency determination shall be made at the time the property receives site plan approval and is developed. The requested C3 zoning district is consistent with the neighborhood support future land use designation. The Planning Commission on January 7th, 2025 voted to recommend approval. There was one member of the public who spoke regarding improvement to the adjacent right-of-way, which we had discussed during our commission agenda review this past Wednesday. Staff's conclusions are that the assignment of neighborhood support future land use and the C3 zoning district is consistent with the property's location along an arterial highway corridor and with developed uses and city designations in the area. There is sufficient public infrastructure capacity to accommodate the maximum theoretical development under the C3 zoning. Staff recommends the City Commission advance Ordinance O-2501 to second reading to be held on February 24th. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, the second reading, as I previously stated, would be on February 24th. However, if there's anyone or any questions about this ordinance, you can do so at this time. All right. Ordinance O-2502, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-02, an ordinance amending Chapter 21 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, by assigning commercial-highway C3 zoning district to an annexed parcel, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. General location of parcel generally located south of Dundee Road, approximately 1,748 feet east of Overlook Drive Southeast, and approximately 108 feet north of Highway 550. The area covered by this request is 0.11 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, Ordinance O-2502 is a companion ordinance to O-2501. This one deals with the Commercial Highway C3 zoning district. Again, staff recommends the City Commission advance this to second reading to be held on February 24th. Thank you.
Thank you. The second reading will be on February 24th. Ordinance O-2508, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-08, an ordinance extending the corporate limits of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, so as to include therein additional territory lying contiguous and adjacent to the present boundaries of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, describing said additional territory, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. General location, 807 Snively Avenue. The area covered by this request is 32.39 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, ARC Industries, Inc. requests City Commission annex one parcel totaling 32.39 plus or minus acres. The purpose for this annexation is to obtain city utilities for future development. The petitioner also owns the adjacent parcel, which is located in the city limits, and this request will bring both parcels under the same jurisdiction for future development. Current taxable value of the subject property is approximately $55,809. A business impact estimate is not required for this ordinance. Staff recommends the City Commission advance Ordinance O-25-08 to second reading to be held on February 24th. Thank you.
Thank you. Second reading, as was stated, will be on February 24th. However, if there's anyone that would like to speak or address this ordinance, you can do so at this time. All right, moving right along. Ordinance 02509, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-09, an ordinance amending ordinance number O-24-44, appropriation of funds for defraying the expenses of the municipal government of the city of Winter Haven for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2024, providing for severability and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, the city has been awarded $200,000 from the Trail Go grant through the Office of Greenways and Trails. This grant funding is currently unbudgeted. The commission authorized a budget amendment on January 27th, 2025, adding the $200,000 in grant revenue to the general fund in the offsetting of general fund expenditures. In accordance with Florida Statutes 166.241, the governing body of a municipality can amend the current fiscal year's budget. Staff recommends the commission approve ordinance O-2509, which will approve a budget amendment of $200,000 to increase the general fund grant revenue and to increase general fund expenditures within the Parks and Grounds Cost Center. We're recommending this be advanced for second reading on February 24th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this? The second reading will be on February 24th. All right, ordinance O-25-10, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-10, an ordinance adopting and designating an updated official seal for the city of Winter Haven, Florida, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, at its first meeting on June 22nd, 1911, the Town Council of Winter Haven adopted a corporate seal. The adoption appears to be an original action of the Town Council. Section 165.043 of Florida statutes dictates the process for making any changes to a municipal seal, stating that the governing body of a county or municipality may, by ordinance, designate an official county or municipal seal. City Clerk's Office proposes that the City Commission designate an updated official seal as shown in Exhibit A, which is displayed on your screens. The updated seal mirrors the original very closely with the addition of the incorporated year, which is shown there at the bottom. Staff recommends the City Commission advance ordinance number O-25-10 to second reading to be held on February 24th. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the second reading will be on February 24th. However, if there's anyone who would like to speak to this ordinance, you can do so at this time.
I just have a
Yes,
question.
Commissioner Mercer.
Is there significance to the 5 circles? Is that 5 commissioners, or what is the 5 significant circles?
If we look back to what was actually in, and Vanessa and her team did the research on that first meeting, it stated that it was to be to have the statement of Winter Haven, Florida in the margin of an orange tree in the center field. It doesn't say anything about the number of oranges or anything like that. So I don't know that there's any true significance to the count.
Just curious.
I like your thought.
There's never been any other change to it except.
It's not been changed at all since 1911.
You could make the motion that we adopt that 5. Like for the 5 commissioners.
That's
And you probably
the
get
only
a
significance I-
unanimous vote.
Any other questions? All right, we have one item of new business, the CDBG 2025-2026 funding support and public comment. City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development administers and distributes the Community Development Block Grant Funding Program nationwide. Locally, Polk County administers the City of Winter Haven's funds and program. The anticipated fiscal year 25-26 CDB allocation for Winter Haven is $279,221. The Neighborhood Service Center Modernization Design Build Project was previously identified as a priority for modernization and enhancement. Staff is presently finalizing the request for qualifications for design build services for this initial phase. Funding for this project is included in the fiscal year 25 Florence Villa CRA budget. Additionally, the city assigned the fiscal year 24-25 CDBG funds to this effort. Staff is recommending that the fiscal year 25-26 CDBG funds also be assigned to the project to further supplement the Florence Villa CRA funds and the prior CDBG allocation. A requirement of the proposed CDBG application is a city commission endorsement, as well as an opportunity for public comment regarding the utilization of these CDBG funds towards the project. Staff recommends the city commission open this agenda item for public comment and endorse utilizing the fiscal year 25-26 community development block grant allocation towards the Neighborhood Service Center Modernization Design Build Project. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve the CDBG 2025-2026 funding support.
Thank you. And at this time, I will close the commission meeting and open the public hearing. Anyone from the public that would like to speak to this particular item may do so by coming forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposes by the same side.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. All right. Are we to the commission liaison reports already?
We've been here a long time,
It's
sir.
too early.
It can't end soon enough.
Commissioner Mercer, would you lead us off?
Okay. I attended Chief Emery's retirement, and we welcomed in a new fire chief and at his swearing-in ceremony. I also attended the public hearing scheduled for State Road 444, Lucerne Park Road. Attended the Neighborhood Service Center Second Annual All Red Gala, and I also attended the One Water Commission. And that's all I have because I left my phone in the car and I don't have the rest of the meetings on it.
All right. Commissioner Dantzler.
Not a lot to report on. I too went and attended Chief Emery's retirement and stuck my head in the human trafficking symposium and sat in the back. I didn't sign up for it, but sat back in the back, and some good things were coming from there. And also went to the Smoke Off the Water. And I also want to make a quick comment. You know, we have a very good looking commission up here, for those of you that don't know it. And some of us look better than others. And I was trying to figure out what Commissioner Yates had done to look so good tonight. And he's lost some weight, so his suit's fitting maybe a little better. Or maybe he's growing hair. I don't know what it is, but something has really made him good looking tonight. And then all of a sudden I realized it's that tie. He is wearing that tie, and it made him smell good, and made him look good, and made him look thinner. So Brian, you know, bravo for standing up to your end of the bet, and it just looks good on you. And I just hope you're welcome to keep the tie if you'd like, to wear whatever you want, but it does make you look a lot better. So thank you.
Well,
And that's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
unlike other politicians, I'm a man of my word. None up here, just others.
Commissioner Dollison.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I had the opportunity to share in the retirement and also for the swearing in of our new chief, and really excited. I believe that Chief Newbrand is going to do an outstanding job. Just enjoy his energy and just his demeanor in terms of, I think his interactions with citizens and also with the staff will be just phenomenal. I also was able to attend the Black Market Festival. That was quite an event. Amazing. The weather was was iffy, but it was just perfect, really, in the sense that there was heavy overcast. And the two young ladies, we actually did get proclamations from here. Spent a little time talking with them about, their vision for this event. And we have a similar event, but we've been doing it for 30 years, celebrating Heritage Day. And so I wanted to even partner with them to look at how we can even expand and do some things even cooperatively. I also was able to share in the Neighborhood Service Center Gala. And this was the second gala that they've had. And Commissioner Mercer was there, and it was a lot of people there. I think about 400, so many that they ran out of food. So that was not a good thing, but it was a great time and just a wonderful celebration. It's just wonderful to see the Neighborhood Service Center really back up and flourishing at this time. I think also what was mentioned about what we're proposing for the CDBG for the improvements will certainly be greatly appreciated and needed there. Also able to attend the public hearing for State Road 544. That was quite an interesting study just to understand just what they're going to do, proposing, and a lot of questions from the audience, from citizens, and a lot were very good questions, and they didn't have an answer for them either. But they're going to take those in consideration. Therefore, they will be considered as they move forward. This is a very, very costly situation, and we don't know whether or not the funding will be available or not. It perhaps will be, I think there are concerns about whether or not it will help with some of the traffic challenges that we are experiencing now. If you spend that kind of money, I hope it does something. That would be a total waste otherwise. Tonight, we honored two very special sheroes, as I would call them, Dr. Owens and also Patricia Salary. I've had the honor and privilege of knowing both of these ladies for many years. I've worked with them, sat on committees with them, planned many activities and events throughout our community, and they are both just stellar citizens in Winter Haven. And so it was a great opportunity just to acknowledge their great work and body of work. So that's all I have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Yates.
Well, I'll also say that I haven't lost enough weight because I tried to button my coat in the pictures and cover up the tie, but it was way too snug. So got to still work on that. A few things I wanted to talk about this evening. One was attending the ribbon cutting earlier today for the new agricultural building out at Lake Region High School. Great little project there. Got them a dedicated ag space right next to their garden area and their goat house, and they've got some plans to have some cattle out there as well. So that's a pretty awesome program they've got getting put together out there at Lake Region. So kudos to them. It's a great facility and great to be out there this morning. My primary thing I wanted to talk about this evening was I did attend the Fast Fly-In last week with the Florida League of Cities trip up to DC. And I've said this before, but I mean, these things, they are just so fast. You get up there and you turn around, you're flying home before you know it. But they are packed full of meetings and conversations with our elected officials and leaders up there. And had the opportunity to sit down and meet with Congressman Franklin's staff primarily, but he did come in while we were there, so I had a chance to talk with him a bit on the side. Also spoke with Congressman Soto's office and Webster's office and Buchanan's office and several others up there, and all very positive meetings. Primarily, it was a continuation of what we've asked for in the past and reinforcing, number one, with FHI flood maps and getting those drawn up and making sure that Florida isn't a donor state. Florida pays out more premiums, but has the fewest amount of claims. Obviously, we bucked that trend last year with the storms, but on average, Florida is a donor state when it comes to flood insurance. And so that's something that we need to get an even playing field throughout the country on. And that's something that we really lobbied for up there as well. The other item was PFAS. And again, just continuing to ask for that liability protection for municipalities. But the number one item that rose to the top this trip was the tax-free municipal bond issue. And apparently there was a list of items that was leaked from the House chamber offices, and tax-free municipal bonds was on the second page of that list as possibly something that was going to be cut from our toolbox, essentially, for municipalities. And so I was able to highlight with all of our meetings what we've been able to utilize tax-free municipal bonds for, which is the recreation centers, 3 new fire stations, the future need for tax-free bonds when it comes to the wastewater treatment plant, the infrastructure projects, the purchase of land for the Sapphire Necklace. And so we had a lot of projects that we were able to put front and center in all of these meetings where we use tax-free municipal bonds. And all of the meetings that we had, none of the congressional leaders gave any indication as that would be on their chopping block, but it's something that we still need to be cognizant of, because as we all know, there may be packages that are presented with X, Y, and Z items, and the tax-free muni issue comes up as a way to pass the other items. So something that we need to continue to be aware of. But on the Senate side, Senator Scott, he didn't know anything about it. So it was really more on the congressional side up for discussions, but it seemed like everyone that we met with was supportive of tax-free municipal bonds. And the other part I made a point to mention was, if you take that status away and you make it more expensive for cities to borrow funds and pay for their own projects, that just means more cities are going to go up to Washington, D.C. or Tallahassee looking for grants and looking for additional funding sources there, which, I think the city of Winter Haven, we're growing, we're moving along, and we're paying for that growth responsibly. So something that probably just needs to be on everybody's radar, but that's what rose to the top. The other item I wanted to mention was Congressman Franklin is putting on a Zoom call on February 20th at 2:00. I'll be getting that invitation, which I will then forward to the city manager. We need to be sure that the person that fills out our grant applications and potentially a few others are on that call, because they're going to help, really provide some guidance to applying for grants at the federal level. So.
Mayor Protem, is that specific to the Congressional Community Grant Program?
Yes, I believe that's part of it. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's all I have this evening.
Okay, all right. I have a few things. Attended a Black History, what was called a religious singing bowl featuring the Bethune-Cookman Choir from Daytona Beach at Zion Hill Missionary Baptist Church on Saturday, and actually gave a welcome to the community. Attended the Lake Region ribbon cutting for the Ag building along with Mayor Pro Tem Yates, Chief New Brand's oath of office, swearing in, which was really good. And State Road 544. There are some things that we actually, with the staff, question and would like to be improved upon.
And so there's no need for me to voice those here, but we did do it, and Sean was there. And basically just some things that we think would make it better. Attended the Neighborhood Service Center second annual Red Gala. Attended the retirement for Chief Emery, and attended my Lakes Advisory Committee meeting, which I really, really do love. And finally, I gave a welcome at the Human Trafficking Symposium that was held at Norm Merrill Hall. And it was quite well attended. And so that was good. And as a follow-up to that, one of the groups that was there was Tobacco Free Florida. So I was cornered today to meet with them about what we were doing and what could we do to promote and legislate a tobacco-free city as it relates to we already have it in our municipal buildings, but we don't have it in the parks. In fact, Commissioner Yates, I think you brought it up about the marijuana and that sort of thing in the parks, but that's right along the lines of tobacco as well. Now, the county has a policy.
Correct.
The state has a policy. So
we are actually, I hope within, if not the next meeting on February 24th, the first meeting in March, that we will have an ordinance for consideration by the City Commission. Julie Adams, our Director of Parks, Recreation, and Culture, along with her staff, and Mr. Murphy with the City Attorney's Office have been working on that, benchmarking against some similar ordinances to include Polk counties, so that we have that to prohibit the use of, it's basically a clean air type ordinance for our public spaces. So we look forward to bringing that back to the commission for consideration and further discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all I have. City Attorney?
No, I'm just working on that clean air ordinance. Thank you. That's all I have tonight.
City Manager?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. A couple of things, if I could. You mentioned city, the legislative items, and certainly I had a chance to visit with Mayor Pro Tem upon his return, and I think while he was in DC as well, on some of those items that we are watching closely. We are putting the finishing touches on our legislative platform, which I've shared with the commission. We will be submitting by the end of this week our appropriation requests for the Florida legislature. Those are due, I believe, on Friday, and we are submitting through Representative Albert's office and Senator Burton's office. We have spoken in person with Senator Burton. We had an opportunity to discuss with her last week, and our primary appropriation request is tied back to Willowbrook Road. So that also speaks to your public hearing on State Road 544, because that has potential to be a significant relief valve for the traffic that we're experiencing there. And that is to primarily get that project to a 60% design phase in a 50-50 match with the city. If we're at 60%, that is the equivalent to having a project that is shovel ready. So when there are grant dollars that come available and they're looking to advance things quickly, a lot of times the federal government, the state government are looking for shovel ready projects, and that will be well positioned for that to go forward. So we will submit those this week, and certainly that will be in our talking points when we travel to Tallahassee in March for Polk County Day. The other thing I want to share with you this evening, and I'm going to ask Katrina if she can pull up a video. I wanted to share with you, this is what is happening at Chain of Lakes Park right now. I don't know if you've had a chance to be down in that area, but you can see that All of our fields are turfed in. You can see a lot of the concrete work is, the sidewalks anyway, are being constructed. Some of the sidewalks will be done with crushed concrete just so we can have the space safened up as we welcome Russ Matt towards the end of this month. Had a chance to go down today, and they are building some of the L screens and the turtle cages for these fields. These are absolutely gorgeous. And that field 3, the one that is closest to the lake there, is just one of the most picturesque areas you could ever ask for. You can see a little bit of how that lakefront was cleared out. Russ Matt, as I mentioned, will come in at the end of this month. There is a small tournament that happens before them in a weekend or two coming up. We will do a ribbon cutting here, and we're working with Parks and Recreation in the county to arrange for that so we can properly commission these fields for use. There is a lot of work that will take place once this project is rounded out. If you happen to go down there during Russ Matt, you'll see a lot of areas that will be mulched over. Those mulched areas will ultimately be concreted in. We just don't have the time to do that prior to that tournament starting, but we do want to work to get the dust levels down. Haven't had a whole lot of rain, so it's pretty dirty down there right now. But I'm going to tell you, I've been to countless athletic facilities around the country, and I would put this up against any one of them. It is absolutely gorgeous, and you can see just how it fills that whole site. Katrina, if you can advance to one of the stills.
Before you do that, I want to ask
Sure.
a question.
Go ahead, go to the still if you would. That may be easier to see it from there.
Okay, yeah, no, I wanted to see the big picture. When you when you look at the areas behind the fields that goes all the way around to the lake, where is that? What's going to be that surface?
So that is the trail surface, the trail corridor. And Julie, can you come to the podium, please, and talk a little bit about that trail corridor?
That will be paved. That is yes.
With
Paved
asphalt?
surface, yes.
Oh, okay.
Asphalt or concrete, I'd have to confirm.
Either one.
Yes.
I was just wondering.
And you can see the, Katrina, if you can navigate your mouse just to the retention pond in the upper corner there. So that is what used to be the lower fields. And that is about a 15-foot elevation change between the bottom of that pond and the top of the berm or the dike that goes around it. There was always a dike there that separated the lake from those lower fields, but because of the lowness of that area, that is used for all the retention on the site. Some of those areas, it's being sodded in and landscaped, but these are areas that will be finished out once we get through the tournament. You also have a number of one main building that will go kind of in the center of where the fields are. That is not going to be constructed until after we get through Russ Matt. So while that tournament's going on, they'll use temporary restrooms. They've got some hookups for a variety of food trucks to come in and serve the spectators that are there. You can see the parking that is on the left-hand side of the screen. These are as of last weekend. So this is like 2 days ago. And you can see we're already using that parking area. It is not finished out, but we're able to park in there, which gave us
grass.
some of it's paved, some of it's grass. It's a
half and
mix. And so that gave us a little bit of relief for an event that was happening at the field house this past weekend. But certainly there's more parking to come in with this. But just something I hope, I know that the commission is proud of, and I'm sure our citizens will be as well. This is going to be a tremendous economic driver once it's up and operating. The other thing I want to point out, if you look at the swimming pool, you can see about half of that pool, the liner is down in it already. So it's Scott is a vinyl liner. So I had a chance to tour the site a couple hours ago. That entire pool is now, the liner is complete. They're putting in the racing lines that go across the bottom and the wall targets. All the deck is being pavered, and just an absolutely gorgeous site. So when these will both kind of round down about the same time, the pool is to be up and operational right before spring break. So we've got about a month to finish it out. About that same time, we'll be into the first round or two of rust mat. Come midsummer, this entire site should be wrapped up and just rocking and rolling. So very excited. I just want to share this with you. You have to look at it from this picture and kind of hold on to that. I can tell you tomorrow it will look different. It is moving that fast.
T, where is the seating?
The seating at the, so it's kind of hard to see from these pictures. Julie, if you want to navigate to where they are, and all the seating has awnings over it, like shade sails.
Okay,
So
you can't really see.
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, all right. I was just wondering.
But there is seating there. Some of these fields, particularly like Field 3 and Field 4, that's the one closest to the lake and the one closest to the retention pond. Those fields sit, gosh, I'm going to say probably 2 to 3 feet below the elevation of the spectator area. So you're kind of elevated, and there's a retaining wall. The field kind of sits down beneath you. So it gives a really unique perspective. If you remember Chain Lakes Park as it was, the infamous padded wall on the outside, I thought we'd forever be done with those pads. Well, the inside of all these fields have that same padding, that blue vinyl coated padding around the inside retaining walls to protect the players. So just a phenomenal site. It's like I said, it's hard to get down into it and see it firsthand, but this gives you some idea what's happening there. And I don't have photos to show of Winter Haven Recreation and Cultural Center just yet, but we'll make sure we have those for next Wednesday's agenda review. If you've happened to have driven Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, the walls are going up. And it's, we just broke ground on that, or did our ceremony on January 3rd, I believe it was. And here we are about a month later, and probably, 40 to 50% of the exterior walls of that building are in place, standing up. And it is amazing.
This morning at 8 o'clock, there were about 5 extra large semis with all these metal, I guess, posts and everything. I mean,
Tilt wall
rebar,
supports.
Yeah, a ton of them in the center lanes, turn lanes. So traffic you could go through, but you weren't making too many turns into the schools and that.
Mayor, I got a question. Can we get that picture back up there, Julie, or Katrina? What, on the top right, there's kind of a white square. What is that exactly?
That's what I was wondering.
So that area that is, so that whole area over there is part of the multi-purpose field area. It's like large green space that we could do events on. You could set it up for, whether it's dog competitions or makeshift soccer or, anything that you would need a turfed area for. It can also serve as overflow parking. The reason you see that area stand out immediately to the side of that, closer to the field house, that is a lot of the dirt that's been excavated and a lot of the vegetation that's come out of the lake that's still being hauled off. So that's why it's so pronounced right there. And Commissioner Dancer, if you look at the shoreline, Katrina, is there one more photo?
I was going to compliment you on the cattails being removed.
Yeah, well, give that to Julie and to the folks in Natural Resources. Our staff has done a great job working with the contractor, but you can see how much of that shoreline has been cleared out. It just really has opened it up. The cypress trees are very pronounced down there now. Just really a good looking site. The other thing I'll point out is you can see where Cletus Allen comes in off of Landings Boulevard there. That roadway will sweep through there and connect with the parking lot that is just to right there.
Yep.
So as you come into the site, there'll be a connection road through all of that.
A couple other things, Julie. One thing on that little overflow area that we were talking about, as somebody that went to a ton of Little League baseball tournaments with my son, having an area where you can set up a tent and the players can gather up between games, and just having a place to kind of get away from it that's grass, and people would be willing to pay for $20 a day or something to leave their tent where the kids could go back in there and eat their hot dogs or whatever. So like a VIP area or something. But that's great that you got that. I think you'll use that quite a bit.
And Mr. Dennison, real quick, just to point out, we also have some team pavilions that are scattered around these fields
Okay.
that are also designed for that, you come off the field with your game, you need to get your team together
Okay.
kind of away, and it's covered, shaded. They can, have lunch, whatever. So we've factored that in.
Katrina, could you go back one more and we'll look at the pool? I have a question on the pool. So, what about the pool's coming along? I've been watching it. And what about shade structures around the pool? Because you wouldn't think you need shade when people are swimming, but
So the existing shade structure that was removed for construction covers the concession area out in front.
Yeah.
And kind of a neat twist to that as well is with this project, previously there was a slope in front of the concession area that came down, and because of drainage and the way it was constructed, now we've leveled that out and it's a much smoother transition for everything around that area underneath that shade structure that will go back up once the construction is completed. We're looking into now how we can provide some additional shade opportunities around the pool that are not a part of this project, but we will see that existing shade structure be put back in place after construction completes.
you'll never have too much shade out there. I can promise you.
I understand.
And that grass area around it, is that going to be areas where people can set up tents and, families can have a little,
Sure.
that's what that's going to be used for
Sure.
mainly? Okay.
When you have swim tournaments, swim meets that are there,
Right.
and all the teams come in, that's exactly what
Flooded.
they use that for. They bring in all their team tents. And that concession area, I would say it's probably maybe 2/3 the size of this room when that shade structure's up, because it comes all the way off of, it's anchored back to the main building and covers that kind of tee-off area that'll have, tables and seating.
Maybe
over
in the future budgets, you might can come up with some money to put some of those shade sails around that grass area.
Mhm.
That's not terribly expensive, but that would be so appreciated. I promise you. So, but I love it. I've been following it and watching it, and I'm so impressed with what you've done with the lake. Golly, I never thought we were going to make
Are
a lake.
there going to be any fencing?
So the baseball facility proper is fenced in. You'll still have access to all the walking trail around it, but we are controlling access onto the fields. That is something that we have learned through the experiences of our peers, that if you don't secure those fields, then the likelihood of people accessing them without proper footwear, because these are AstroTurf fields. And I just talked with the folks from the county today, and I know that Julie and Scott have had a lot of conversation on this as well. When Russ Matt's here, before those players take the field, one of the things that the officials are doing is checking their footwear, because you cannot take, a natural grass cleat onto this surface without causing damage.
Right. Just wondering, you can't see fencing.
Yeah,
But I
there's.
know this is very, very, very rough. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what is the distance around that trail? Any idea?
I do know that. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can get back to you with that information.
Kind of coming over the overpass there on 17. I mean, it looks incredible now, but the only thing that comes to mind is when you come over that overpass at 8:00 at night one night, and this is all done, and they're out there playing ball. That's Field of Dreams stuff. I mean, that's literally what comes to mind is you're just going to see that glow. You're going to see the ball players out there. Hugely impactful. Very excited to see that.
And Mayor Pro Tem, it should be a very minor glow. There are minimal lights on these facilities. I think there are 4 lights per pole, if I'm not mistaken, and I think there's 6 poles per field. It is all low profile. It's an LED light system that is designed to not have spill. So it should just be a little hum is all you see out there.
You'll be able to see the fields. I mean, it will look
So
really great.
is it going to be possible to, like, on that green open space in the upper right-hand corner, what that'll be, can we put more lights potentially there to light that area at some point?
Yeah, I don't know what's included in our plans for the initial construction to go in there. Certainly, there's lighting along the roadway coming in. if we were to activate that space, we would likely do it with the temporary lighting that we use for events. Putting in permanent lighting, you got to figure out what your configuration would be based upon what the demand of the use of the space is, so that you can adjust it accordingly.
I just know the county is focused on redoing all of the fields out at Simmers Young, and that's going to displace a lot of youth athletics once that really starts unrolling. And I'm sure those groups will be reaching out to us for help, and that might be a great spot to facilitate some practices or even games. The other concern was, though, it does appear on the field house that we're starting to get some fading on that paint.
Yes. So staff had requested to paint that building last year. Being somewhat frugal and fiscally responsible, I put that off for a year. It is on the darker colors that we see that fade, so I expect that will be part of our budget this year, primarily looking at the blues and the teals that are on there, particularly on that south wall coming in. Yep. So
The total acreage of this property, of this project is now what? What is it taking up approximately?
65 to 70 acres, give or take. But it's an absolute gem of a site. It's come together in, I'd say, really 4 phases, between the field house and then the improvements we did to the old building as a second phase, these ball fields as a third, and then the renovation of the pool as a fourth. I'm following some projects in other cities around the country that are making large investments to develop a site like this all at once. And just the amount of money it's taking to do that, we're blessed that we had some really good bones to start with. So.
And just from a perpetual care and maintenance perspective, we've been doing our homework diligently along the way. Even back as early as me joining the team, this was a discussion, and we began working with our colleagues across the state and across the country, frankly, about challenges to overcome, about equipment needed, about everything that we need to do to make sure that we're the best stewards and caretakers of this new amenity, to make sure that it lasts as it's supposed to and intended to for years to come.
How much staffing do you anticipate it'll take to run this?
We currently have added additional staffing that are in the budget for what we have earmarked and done our research on. And so we're going to run with what we have now, which is an additional staff of part-time staff to be able to help when those tournaments influx, et cetera. We added an additional 4 part-timers to the crew that we have currently. We've been, again, researching to find out what we're going to need in the future, but with what we have this year, we're going to be able to earmark and see what that looks like for our requests for future years. Because this is a turf surface, we anticipate that it will be less with what we traditionally have known as maintenance, but we also know that there will be some curveballs come at us, and we're prepared to handle those as we need to moving into future requests.
So there will be a designated person, full-time person that will manage this whole complex, though?
Yes.
Okay. That person has already been.
We have that on team already. That's with Mike Schimmel as our Assistant Superintendent of Parks and Grounds. And we have crew leaders that take care of our athletic field locations. And they're working to identify what that schedule is going to look like now with this onset of the new facility.
And Commissioner Dawson, just to follow up on that. So when this was a grassed facility with really 6 fields, you're mowing, you're fertilizing, you're doing all of that maintenance. We don't have that responsibility in the same way now. When these fields turn over from one game to the next, we're not out raking clay and watering down spaces that we were. When we added on the Reuben Williams Sports Complex, so one of the things that we were able to do is we've added some facilities. We're able to flex those staff into some of those other areas. So, we were able to kind of reduce the manpower demand for this site, which allowed us to accommodate the manpower demand for that site.
I would be remiss if I didn't remind this commission and everybody else, look at how beautiful this is. And it's by providence that this is not a target and a bunch of out parcels And thankfully, the real estate market crashed in 2008, 2009. Thankfully, I'm saying that tongue in cheek, of course, but this is the place where Target wanted to be. And now Target's probably going to go across the street, hopefully. But when I look at this, I am so thankful that this is what we have here instead of Target and some out parcels and maybe some housing. I said it a million times. I'll say it's prime property. Everybody kept saying, well, it's such prime property. Look at all that lakefront. It was prime property 60 years ago and it's prime property now. Why can't we let the public own it? Well, the public owns this, and this is a jewel, and we're proud of it, and we've done the right thing, and I'm really proud of it. And Providence is the real estate market went down. Otherwise, who knows what this would have actually turned out to be. But golly, I'm so glad we have this. So, kudos to everybody that caught this vision and made it happen. And finally, it's here. So good job.
Got the best of both worlds. You got a Chick-fil-A and you got to keep the.
Oh, the people love the 3 restaurants. And Target's still going to come in. They're just going to go across the street, hopefully. So,
Anything else, city manager?
Just watch your calendars, and AJ will reach out to you once we have some timing for that ribbon cutting. I have a feeling it may be at the very end of this month, and we'll make sure that you're all lined up for that.
That's it.
That's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The deputy city manager is out. City clerk?
I just want to wish Commissioner Dantzler an early happy birthday. His birthday's this Thursday.
When is it?
13th.
Oh, all right.
Just a couple of days. All right. Vanessa brought me some ice cream if anybody wants any. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Deputy city clerk? Emergency matters not received for this agenda. Motion to adjourn.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
So moved.
We get